Lucky enough to be joined by Josh Frydenberg. He's the Minister for Resources, Energy and Northern Australia, joining us bright and early in Perth this morning. Minister, thanks very much for speaking to us. What do you make of what the Chevron chairman and CEO had to say about Australia, saying that industry needs to work with government more closely and government essentially needs to give industry a bit of a hand on the labour front in particular?
Well, Chevron's been a terrific investor in Australia, and obviously they've been leading the Gorgon project, which has been the largest private sector investment we've ever seen in this country, an amazing technologically advanced project. Now, we are obviously as a government seeking to drive down the cost of doing business in Australia. We have before the Parliament an important piece of economic legislation to ensure that we have more labour market flexibility. We're constantly updating our tax system, and we're trying to cut regulation, particularly around environmental approvals, not to diminish the standards in any way, but to streamline the process, to have a one-stop shop. As well as that, we're rolling out important infrastructure where the government can help put in place the necessary infrastructure to support major projects. So we are very determined as a government to continue to attract global investment. Australia is a stable, reliable destination for investment. We welcome foreign investment, and we've seen some $200 billion invested in our country in LNG production capacity over the last decade, and that will see Australia overtake Qatar as the world's largest LNG exporter by 2020.
All right, I want to talk a bit more about investment a little bit later on, but just to LNG 18, the conference, you were of course up at the Gorgon project with the Prime Minister, and you've been around the conference over the first day. What's the sense that you're getting from LNG and oil producers? Yes, on one hand we are dealing with lower prices, but what's the sense that you can pick up of the state of the industry right now?
I think people are very positive about its future, and that's driven by what I call the mega trends in demographics, the increase in population, particularly in Asia, the growing middle classes, the increase in urbanisation. All that's driving a greater demand for gas. And of course, the IEA says of all the fossil fuels, gas is the only one which will increase as a percentage of the energy mix between now and 2040. And in a post-COP21 world, gas is a cleaner, greener form of energy production. So I'm very upbeat about the demand for gas, particularly in our region. Australia has proximity to markets. We're very advanced in terms of the automation and the innovation. It's great to see at the Gorgon facility, for example, the carbon capture and storage facility, which is 4 times bigger than the next largest facility ever built in the world, and will reduce the emissions by up to 40%. Companies like Woodside are using autonomous underwater vehicles at their Pluto LNG plant. Companies like Santos, another Australian company, have partnered with IBM to use big data analytics to predict problems on the pipelines before they actually occur. So it's a highly innovative, productive sector, and Australia is in the sweet spot in this golden age of gas.
All right, let's talk about then further investment. I imagine that you're trying to drum up as much investment into Western Australia and Northern Australia as you can, given the decline that we've seen in commodity price and the flow and effect to industry here. But Chinese investment, for instance, into Australia in 2015, we saw a 60% increase, but only 1% of that was in Western Australia. What more can be done to encourage investment from places like China into WA?
Well, China's investment is across many different sectors. Of course, it's in the resources sector and the hard commodity sector, and you've seen it in iron ore, you've seen it in coal, and of course in gas as well. But it's also in the agricultural sector, and it's obviously in the services sector too. I'm heading off to China later today with the Prime Minister, which will be an important visit. They're our #1 trading partner. We have over $150 billion worth of two-way trade. We export $100 billion to them, and they export $50 billion to us. And now we have the China-Australia Free Trade Agreement, which will see 96% of all our exports tariff-free over the life of that agreement. So we've got a very positive story to tell with China. They're increasing their investment in Australia. It's a diverse set of sectors they're investing in, but also they're going to be an important energy and gas market for us because by 2020 Australia will be supplying 40% of China's gas needs, 40% of Japan's gas needs, the long-term customer of Australia, as well as 25% of Korea's gas needs. So we are really a dominant player in this LNG sector.